Good morning, everybody. We had to wait for Steve to get back from whatever he was doing.
Good morning.
And we don't want to know. We don't want to know.
Dennis isn't before the show.
Yeah, Dennis isn't going to be here today. I think he's feeling a little under the weather, and I think Gail did the same thing to him that Brenda did to me. So got us both sick. So anyway, it's good to see everybody this morning, and we don't have a guest today, but I'm sure we'll come up with something to talk about. So Steve, take it away. Looks like we've got a good group in this morning.
We do. Good morning. We got Bernard, Rob T-Man, Steve Anderson, Stephen Wigwag. We got the Being Q. We got Allison, Brian. We got Uncle Wilmer. Good morning, Uncle Wilmer. Chuck CDP. And we got Digger. Good morning, Digger. We got Bill, New Fenris Railroad. Did I say Rob T-Man? I don't think I did. I think that's it. Did I miss anybody? I'm sure I did. Anyway, good morning. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good morning, everybody.
I'm sure I missed anybody. Oh, Michael McCarville. I forgot about that.
I was muted.
Well, you were on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sparky rolled in. Good morning, Sparky.
Good morning.
And Dave BNSF is here now.
Yeah, Roy Hardwick. Good morning, Roy.
Oh, my eyes are watering for some reason.
I'm smelling the smoke in my garage.
It could be. It's wafted all the way from Richmond over here.
That smell-o-vision. It's something new in these cell phones they don't tell you about.
So is that smoke did you get some that's got the smell in it?
No. I'm using probably some cheap stuff that I got with an HO scale engine a long time back. So it's just the regular, essentially it's what, baby oil, I think is really what it is. But I've seen you can buy all that stuff. Like you can get a lot of foo-foo smells, evergreen, lavender.
Yeah.
I don't really care. It's smoke. It's not supposed to smell pretty.
Yeah.
Unless it's like oak and you're burning oak. Now oak smells good.
Well, so one company called Super Smoke, I think, or something like that. And they've got like wood burning smells like campfire, coal burning smells. Yeah, that's what I want to put in the roundhouse is the coal burning smell. That kind of stuff I think would be pretty cool. Anyway, good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. And if anybody's got any questions for us, hit us up with them. But anyway.
If you guys haven't checked out Claude's update, you got to do it.
Yeah, I got an update I put in a couple days ago. Also having a 300 sub contest. So get over and make a comment in that video, and I'll put you in the draw. It's just going to be a drawing out of the hat. So you don't have to do anything other than go over and put a comment in, and I'll put you in the drawing. And I'm not sure how many I'll give away. I may give away 2 or 3 of them. So make sure you get over there, and I'll send you a T-shirt or a coffee cup or something like that. Anyway, who's this? Valley 56. Valley's 56.
Good morning.
That's a new name. I don't recognize that name.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. Anyway, pardon me, but I'm not functioning very well this morning.
Need a few more cups of coffee, Claude.
Old age. Well, I'm on my 3rd one now, so.
So I'm like,
yeah, that's one thing. Caffeine doesn't bother me too much. It's the acid in the coffee gets my stomach now, but the caffeine's never bothered me.
Yeah, years ago, I'd have a coffee pot in a garage or workshop, depending upon where I was living, and before noon, I'd have it gone. But I'd get such acid reflux, and at night, if I'd lay on a certain side, I could taste the coffee. I love it. Caffeine doesn't bother me either, but I can only have like a cup a day, or else I'm in trouble.
Yeah, and I only noticed it when I got older. When I was younger, I could drink a whole pot of coffee before I go to bed. It wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
And not anymore. And of course, the wife's not like that. She can't drink coffee late in the evening, or she won't be able to sleep. And but I can drink it before I go to bed, and I'm fine. fact, it's like drinking warm milk for me. It'll help me go to sleep. Anyway, I've got a friend that I used to fly with. We were doing airplanes, and it'd be 100 degrees outside in the summertime. And 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he'd go into the clubhouse and make a pot of coffee. I'm going, how are you drinking coffee when it's 100 degrees outside? And some people like it like that. So, but he drank coffee all day long.
Oh man, I drank my share.
Yeah. When I was younger, I'd do the same. It wouldn't make any difference. Winter or summer, coffee, first thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the mornings, I always have coffee in the mornings, but
And in the afternoon and evening.
no. About the only time I have it in the evening is like after dinner or something like that, maybe. But
A little bit of decaf.
yeah. Well, it's like I say, it wasn't the caffeine that bothered me though.
Okay.
In fact, when I was younger, none of the coffee bothered me. But
What's the point of drinking half coffee though? Like
Coffee's good for it.
it's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. What's the point?
But I like the taste of coffee more than sometimes it keeps me awake, sometimes it doesn't. So I like the taste of coffee more.
Yeah. Oh, I love the taste of coffee.
And the smell of it too. I like the smell of it.
Well, if you like the taste of coffee, if you like chocolate, get you some chocolate covered roasted coffee beans sometime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And if caffeine will buzz you, those will buzz you. But they're really good.
Bill,
It's
you
like
need one of those.
espresso or something in solid form.
Bill,
What?
you need some smoke, some coffee smoke over by your hobo camp.
Coffee scented smoke. Now that would be kind of cool.
Over by your hobo camp.
Well, they make a bacon scent.
Bacon
So,
would be good.
you get a like at the cabin, you could have them cooking bacon in the cabin and coffee.
You need that at like your processing plant. You know, they might do mostly cattle, but maybe some hogs come in and they just kind of cook them right there.
Throw them on the grill.
So years and years ago in the 60s, mid 60s, there used to be an Oscar Mayer plant right by the river. And they had, they brought livestock in by train, I guess. But you could smell like the smoke from the bacon, like when they were making bacon going by. And my God, it smelled so good. I still can remember it to this day. It was just like it permeated the air for like miles.
Yeah, when I lived in Fort Worth, there was a bakery.
Same thing.
Rainbow bread or something.
Yeah.
And man, when you drove by there, you always rolled the windows down. It always smelled so good.
Roy says he gets the taste and smell of coffee. How do you stay awake driving that truck then?
He doesn't like the smell of coffee, did you say?
He gags at the smell and taste of coffee.
It's probably because he's drank so much of it.
Like, stay awake.
Yeah. Some of the coffees aren't that good. It just depends upon individual flavor and taste. I liked it when I was a kid, going back to the 60s, where you're talking about the aroma. I'd always be the one in the house as the little kid who would open the coffee can because that smell of the ground coffee was just like intoxicating to me as a youth.
The smell of it, yeah.
Well, especially the fresh can, we had to take the key off and and do it around. Yeah, that's when it really smelled good, when a fresh can like that.
Growing up, my dad liked Sanka. That's what he drank. That's what he drank. That's what he drank.
My dad was in European theater of operations in World War II. And literally, he would make coffee that spoons would almost stand straight up. He'd grab like a handful of grounds and toss it into a pot and boil it. And that's how he liked it.
Yeah.
I grew up with that. I like my coffee a little weaker. I'll admit that. But that's strong stuff.
I like campground coffee. It's something about drinking it when it comes right off a campfire that makes it the best.
Oh yeah. I don't like where you put a spoon in it and you stick the spoon in and the tip instantly disappears in the liquid because you can't see it. It's so thick.
What'd you say, Steve?
Oh, I was just saying I used to piss off a yard master because he'd be making a fresh pot of coffee. I'd go in there with my cup and pull it out, get a nice bit. he wanted that strong coffee, and he said I always messed it up. And he said after I took the coffee out, it was like if a duck ran through it with a bean. But
well, that's the way Brenda is. I've threatened to get her an espresso machine for years because we've got a Keurig now, so you have each cup is fresh. But when we had the pot, like Mr. Coffee, she didn't want the first cup out of the carafe. She wanted the first cup going through the grounds.
Yeah.
She wanted it as strong as she could get it. She still drinks a lot stronger coffee than I drink. We have to get two different kinds because I'm like Bill. The little bit lighter coffee. I love the flavor, but I don't want that. I don't want to come up and hit me in the head either. So, but Bernard says Sheepherder's coffee is what Grandpa raised him on. I don't think I want to know what was in Sheepherder's coffee, especially from Bernard. I can imagine.
Like this campfire coffee, does it have the grounds in the coffee?
Yeah. In fact, we used to just take a 1 pound coffee can and nail like a 1x2 up the lip of the can, fill it with water, dump you some grounds in there and boil it, and then just drink it out of that.
Yeah, and we used to have like a little the old camp style percolator coffee pots. So you still get a lot of coffee grounds in the coffee. Oh, yeah. Nothing was filtered. Put it on a fire, and it's good.
Well, when you boil it, you get a lot of coffee grounds, but it kind of chewy.
I don't want my coffee chewy. Hey, Joe.
No. Well, that's good. First quarter of our show talking about coffee.
Here we go. Wigwag says Cowboy Kent Rollins on the YouTube channel shows how to make the best campfire coffee. Oh, I bet. Some of those guys that work out like on ranches and stuff, they know how to make that stuff. It's just like breakfast. The best breakfast you can get is out on a campfire.
I guess I just haven't lived yet.
Oh, I tell you what, Jerry, you need to go up someplace like Estes Park, Colorado, and you can take a 2-hour breakfast ride on horseback, just trail horses, and they'll ride you through the foothills there of the Rockies, and of course it's early morning, so you get the pine smell and a nice fresh air, and you'll come walking around the corner, and there they've got a big breakfast thing set up where they're cooking it out there on open fire, and there ain't nothing better than that.
Really?
Yeah, some good stuff. Yeah.
That sounds pretty
So
good.
if you're ever out that way, there's lots of those kind of places, but Estes Park's got several of them because it's kind of a tourist area, but it's a tourist area where you don't have to go very far outside of town to get out of town.
Right.
It's a small town, but they've got all that available in that area. And you take the family, we took the kids and stuff with us and stuff like that. And they're trail horses, so they're, relatively safe. Unless you get one that wants to scrape you off under a limb.
I don't think my fat butt would get on a horse, though. I don't want to.
But yeah, breakfast ride. If you're ever out there and you're going to do that, take a breakfast ride because it's just,
sounds fun.
Bacon and eggs and fresh bread and stuff. That's just really good. Okay, so what else are we talking about here, guys?
We got to talk trains.
I see. Wilmer is coming to Timonium, I guess. Wilmer, maybe I'll try to get out there. Dennis has a question.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. What are these smell decoders that you make your layout smell like coal? Or did I misunderstand you? Dennis, it's the smoke generators. Sleuth is one of them. I guess it's European made. It's about, they're about an inch long, 1.5 inch long, 1/4 inch square around, and they're just a heating element, and they've got oil that you put in there, and the oils have scents to them. Super Smoke, I think, is the name. I don't know the company name though, but Super Smoke is the name of the smoke oil, and they've got all kinds of smells. So look that up, and you'll see it on there.
Yeah, Lionel also has a lot of smoke, different different kinds as well.
Mhm.
And then like what I'm using is the model power smoke generators, which fit in the HO scale stacks of locomotives for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh, they actually fit in the little stack of an HO locomotive.
Yeah, you can even get them fit in.
Tiny.
But you know, it's the amount. Like
Yeah.
my problem is I overfilled one, so I've got to let it just kind of cook, and eventually it'll burn it down, and then it'll smoke again. You know, it takes some practice, but yeah, they're not much bigger around than a screwdriver shank. It's
like a straw or something. Probably
Yeah.
like this little straw.
Well, there's some YouTube videos out there. I saw one just as I was getting back in the hobby. My son sent me one. It was O scale layout these people had with the big boy engines and stuff like that on it. And they had like 2 or 3 smoke generators on each one. It was blowing smoke out the side with each cylinder stroke, that kind of stuff. And I mean, they looked like real engines with all that smoke coming, and they were really billowing too. I've not ever seen one do that before.
I wonder if they make them big enough for my American. That would be cool.
Well, you could probably
they actually probably do. They make them for like G scale, and they produce a hell of a lot of smoke.
Well, you get enough heat out your stack anyway, Steve.
What's that?
If you just rigged up a pan to put the oil in, and then put the oil in that, the heat off that stack's going to make it smoke.
Huh. Interesting. I wonder how it's.
You have to figure out how to put it in there, so you can take it out and that sort of thing and clean it. But
I wonder how it would make the propane smell.
Steve, you could just use smoke bombs.
Colored smoke bombs.
Yeah.
So so my friends that do photography, that's what they do. They go to these steam places and do night photography or something, and they use smoke bombs on engines that don't run, and it makes it look like it's steaming. It's just like it's all just like a Hollywood prop thing,
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors, exactly.
I want to put this up here.
But I didn't know they had them that tiny. I just want to say we appreciate it on the community building today, so we look for upcoming videos. Cool. So Mom and somebody, model railroader, Johnny Railroad, they call him in the community, sent Mom and Ray like over 100 pieces of flex track. 100 pieces.
Wow.
Big flex track. That was so cool of Johnny to do that. It was awesome. They have a video of it. Really cool. Yeah, there's great people in this community,
Yeah.
This is probably the most true thing that Heath's ever said.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that, Heath. So you've stated the obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, that was
true.
the show. Thanks. See you guys next week.
Yeah. That's okay. We like blowing smoke.
Okay, Wigwag says Ninja smoke tubes. They'll smoke out the neighborhood. I've not heard of them. And now, Stephen, are the Ninja smoke tubes? Is that for model railroading?
Probably like Steven's in the pyrotechnics. It's probably pyrotechnic stuff.
It probably is. Yeah, and I don't want to do that in the house.
He's a fireworks dude. He loves fireworks.
That explains that then.
Yeah, it's probably some big, massive thing that Hollywood uses.
Well, the other thing is you got to be careful doing it in the house. So you don't want to do too much, or you get the smoke detectors to go off.
Yeah, man. Or worse, it starts coming out your house and your neighbors call the fire department.
You're right. You're right, Jerry. That's for fireworks shows.
Yeah.
No, that's a little bit too big. But yeah, I plan on doing that though. At least 1 or 2. I think maybe a campfire one.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And then one around the roundhouse.
Yeah, you could have a ton of
the coal smell.
All you guys could have a ton of them on your layouts in little areas doing different smells.
Now, the problem is you get too many of them, you can't keep them going, you know, because you only take a couple of drops in them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing like when you're walking by something and you get this smell, and you know what you're smelling, but you don't know where it's coming from.
It's like,
some of it could be very realistic. And like Claude, for like his cattle lot, he could go out and get a fresh cow pie and add a couple of little drops and give that aroma. That would catch visitors' attention for sure.
I've looked for the smoke that smells like cattle, but I haven't found that yet. For some reason, they don't make that one.
You just make your own. Get some tea. Get some cow patties and make some tea out of it and put some oil in it. And make your own, Claude.
Oh,
that could
no, I don't think I'll go to that. I don't think I'll go to that. But but yeah, the coal smell, I'll definitely be doing because that's one of those distinctive smells. If you ever get around a coal-fired steam engine, you definitely tell that. It's not super strong, but it's enough that you know it. But smells are one of those things that one of the biggest memory kicks that you can get. Because to this day, I can't smell creosote telephone poles or something in the hot summer sun without thinking of Six Flags.
Yeah.
Six Flags down in Arlington, Texas, it's always 3 digits when you go down there in the summertime, and all that creosote smell comes out, and that's what you remember from that place. So that still kicks my memory for that.
So for me, like growing up in the bakery with my dad, the bread smell, and no matter where I go, it's that smell, and it's a specific smell. All bread doesn't smell the same. You might think it does, but it doesn't. And man, like if I could just get that smell back, it would be like
going back in time.
Yeah, like going back in time. It was just like a good time in your life,
Oh yeah. And you're right. One of my memories as a kid after 10, Buddy and I would go. There was a Rock Island branch line that was near our homes, and we'd go walk, and there was a trestle, and we'd climb the trestle, and it was a small one, and wait for the train to kind of go over the top of us as we're holding on. But I would be sniffing the creosote on the trestle. It's like, that is a wonderful smell.
I can't stand the smell of creosote.
Oh, I love
hot asphalt.
Because if you're hanging on to a trestle when the train's going over, you got a good grip on that sucker. You're definitely going to smell the creosote.
Yeah.
Probably going to go home with it on your clothes.
It was a branch line, so 5-6 cars, and I can remember it was like mostly an F unit and early GPs that they would run. But you're on the trestle, shaking, and it just was fun.
Yeah. Stupid stuff we did as kids.
There's nothing worse than going by the MOW yard or something. There's like thousands of railroad ties out there, and they're brand new, and they just reek of creosote.
Yeah.
You guys like that. You guys would have creosote cologne.
It wasn't like I really liked the smell, but that was, it's that memory jog from back when I was a kid. It's someplace I liked going.
Yeah.
And every time I smell it, that's the first place I think of.
Right.
Is that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hot asphalt's the same way, Steve. If it's someplace that you like or you remember as a kid, especially, you get that smell. And you smell it again, it brings you right back to it.
Steve 87, why do you like the smell of hot asphalt? What kind of memory jars that?
Yeah, well, I'm curious about that too.
Yeah. But at the same time, growing up as a city kid, my mother's sister married a hog farmer, and I would spend summers at their farm, and I always loved the smell of hogs. Always did, always will. And it was just like, my mom couldn't stand going there, and I was like, hang my head out the window and like just smell it, and like, that's country, Mom. That's country.
Well, it's like cattle pens, now if you go to a stockyard or a feedlot, it's really too strong. but just smelling cows like at the fair.
Yeah.
You know, but I grew up around, not on a farm, but my grandparents had brothers and sisters that had farms there south of Dallas. And we used to go out there all the time. In fact, we'd go over there and my grandfather would take me and help him shovel manure into a trailer to bring back to put on his garden. And so that was, you know, fond memories of cow stuff. Yeah. Like Dennis has with the pigeons over here.
Does corn processing plants smell bad?
Corn processing plants?
Steve Childers had a comment that I'm sure Bill remembers the stench of corn processing plants in Iowa.
They do.
Really?
They're pretty nasty. Like Cedar Rapids, Iowa, there's a big processing plant for ethanol and other products.
That's
the fermentation smell. It reeks.
Well, it's like a paper plant. A paper plant is some of the nastiest smelling things I've ever smelled.
Yeah, that's what a friend of mine was telling me. I went by a paper plant. We all were together. He says, "Man, you should smell this place sometimes. It's hard."
And I don't know. I guess it's the chemical that they're using to break down the wood fiber to make the paper stuff. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Bernard says, "Oh, got the wrong one on there." Bernard said cattle smell was the smell of money, especially during roundup season. Yeah, for sure with cattle. Now, what did Dennis say? I'm going to read this before I put it on the screen. Always talking to Heath. Anyway, yeah, smells have always been that way for me, especially.
Yeah, I think they are for everybody.
But to change the subject a little bit. Oops, dang it, what happened here? I lost my camera. Come back. There we go. I have one of these. Here, I'll put it on this side.
What is that, Claude?
That's a bill style tree right there. Now, I used a dowel rod on this because my tree is going to be much smaller, and I had a bunch of these dowel rods. So I started with these. I just tapered them on the band, the sanding drum. And then I put this on here. I've got to change a few things because this material that I use it's sort of like what Bill used, but it's too sticky. And this is just painted. So I didn't have any static grass. I had to order that. So it'll be a while before those get finished. But something I wanted to show Bill. Now, this is how Bill does them with the grapevine wire.
Yeah, I like them.
And because my trees are a little bit smaller, I ran across this by accident. I was putting this together, and you can see the tip is bare.
Yeah.
That eliminates having to put a toothpick on it.
Yeah, you can cut the sheathing off of it, and
this one got loose, and I took the scissors and snipped it, and then when I was gluing it, it kind of slid back down. I thought, "Oh, that works great."
Yeah. And I've done that on a few of them early on. I just like the toothpick because with the natural fiber, it's just was to get those trees to that really pointy point. Yeah. But doing it that way works perfect. I got a bunch of them that were on that I did it that way early on.
Yeah, but I do have a big one. This would be about as big a one as I put on here. This one is about a little over 12 inches. And I don't even know if I'll use the full length of that yet or not until I get it to the layout and see where it's going to sit. But I'm not going to remove all the trees I've got on there now. I'm just going to add these.
Oh, yeah, get a blend. It just looks natural because it's all different shapes and sizes and colors and textures.
I may replant some of the ones I have now and put these in their place, but I won't do away with those because I've got over 100 of those already on there. Doesn't look like it's that many, but you know how that is. You need 3 times as many as you think you do. But yeah, I think it's going to work good. And since I seen your trees build, I can't wait to get some of these on there. But I need the static grass. I didn't have that.
So Claude,
Claude,
your scale, where is that at? Like 187, 160? Where's you?
This one that's 187 scale.
You're still 187.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The only difference on mine from regular HO is the width and the track break.
Okay.
The gauge of the track.
Gotcha.
I've got the standard gauge and the narrow gauge, but it's like Bill's O scale. His is all the same scale.
Right.
It's just a narrow gauge track with a standard track. Mine's the same way, but in HO.
Gotcha.
But this would be about 40 feet. No, yeah, about 40 feet, because that's about the size of the tram towers.
Yeah.
So this is about a 40 footer. So that would make this one about 70, 80 feet, which would be about the biggest I would put on there.
So, hey, I have a question for you since you brought up the tram thing. Are you making your trams?
No, I'm getting them from Berkshire Valley Models. They make the towers, a kit for the towers, and they have the white metal kits for the tram buckets that go on them.
Okay.
I can actually show you better if I had one of the pages from their deal. They're out in the shop. If y'all want to hang on, I'll go get that and show you, and then maybe go upstairs and show you where it's going to go.
Cool.
But talk about something, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. Steve, what have you been up to?
Oh, you're going to let me talk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't usually get to talk too much, so what have you been up to?
I've been trying to talk. I was going to go back to a comment that Brian said about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, jeez. Brian, say it again then.
I got to find it. And you guys are talking so fast. Jeez. Like, talking about paper mills. I had a story about that.
You know, Steve, spring's coming, right?
I got to find it.
You know what that means, right? Spring is coming. It means that you got to get the American back out, right?
How soon is the weather?
It's coming now.
I'm trying to find his comment. Brian, comment out again.
Bill, what have you been doing?
Oh, I'll show it here once we get Claude back.
Okay.
Okay.
Brian had a question about 15 minutes ago. How do you know if your steam engine is capable of producing smoke? What do you look for?
Oh, producing smoke. I don't know. I don't think they all can. Right? They all can't do it.
You can buy them that have the smoke generators in them. Like,
right. Yeah,
I got like one on my HO scale, but I've never gotten it to smoke because it's a switching layout. So I don't think I can give it enough voltage because it'll blast across the space. But any locomotive, I think you're able to put in a smoke unit. You just have to size it right. Look for what kits will work. The wiring is really simple. It's generally it's like two wires that you tie in.
Right.
So
but I
draw power, but they have to draw like the ones that I'm using just for the scenes, which we'll show later. They start smoking at about 6 volts DC. So you're running your trains at a fairly good clip to get it to smoke. DCC, I would imagine they probably have ways of doing it for DCC as well. I just don't know.
Right. But I think Brian's question is, like, you buy a locomotive, right? How do you know if it smokes or not?
Oh, they'll have it on the box.
Yeah. It'll say it on the box, but if you buy it used, you don't get a box. How do you know?
Then you would look down the smokestack and see, if you've got just smokestack and it's solid, obviously not. If it's hollow and there's nothing, then it's not a smoker. The units you'll see, it would have like a ring, and then there'd be like a center, and I won't call it a button, but I'd call it a rod, and you could see that it would go down. And odds are, if you've got something like that in your smokestack, then it's a smoker. You'd also could take the top off and look and see if you've got wires going to your smokestack. If you've got wires going to the smokestack, you're guaranteed that you've probably got a smoke unit in it.
Right. Yeah. But you can add one to everything.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. It a little finesse, a little glue, a little, being careful. Like we were talking before the show, the one that I'm trying to slowly burn off my excess oil fill, they generate a lot of heat, and even, like model power, and I'm using it has a little caveat in the instructions that, if you run it dry, it's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. But if you're running it dry and you're running your locomotive for like 15 minutes or so, there's a good chance that your smokestack is going to deform because of the heat. So, there's some give and takes with it.
Really?
Engines, bigger scale, I think probably not a problem. HO scale, the tech is good. N scale, I'd be leery of doing it. But for like building smokestacks industries, burn barrels like what I've got, I'm having fun actually putting the oil in it and smoking up my layout.
Yeah. So I guess there's a give and take, right? Like you said, if you have a smoke generator locomotive and you don't run smoke in it, it could mess your smokestack up.
It could, yeah, because it's designed to be able to run, constant and without the oil in it, but they generate heat regardless. So engines that are designed and built and sold with a smoke unit, probably not a problem. Engines that you convert, you've got to be careful and try to figure out ways to maybe dissipate some heat or keep it so that it's not touching parts that you don't want to melt.
Yeah.
What you got, Claude?
Well, this is one of the tires from Berkshire Valley Models, and that's the standard way you would build it, the kit. And they give you, here's what they send you with it, and of course different ways. I'm going to have to do something similar to this with the second tower, and I'll have to build it in place. But it's kind of hard to see on here. Here's kind of the setup if you wanted to build a working one. This is typical of what they would have looked like, and they were powered in a lot of cases with counterweights. So this top one would be the top end with the tipple on it, and then the bottom end would be, I take it back. No, that's the bottom end with the tipple on it. The top end may also have a tipple on it, but it'd be a little bit different setup. But then the buckets that they show on there, this is 2 of them in this package. And you can see how small they are.
Right.
But they have the wheels. Kind of hard to see here. There, it's a little better. But there's two of them in this kit. And of course they're strung out between, think of cable cars at Disneyland or chairlift is kind of the setup on them. But we actually saw some when we went up north of Silverton. If you're in Silverton, you can go just north of town, and they're a little bit bigger than this, and they're metal towers. But they go way up in the mountain on a valley, and then it branches out up in the valley from all the different mines, and they all came to the same place and then came down the valley in the tram buckets. But the guys used to ride the tram buckets up to the mines. Is
yours going to operate?
No. Not even gonna. It's going to be hard enough to get it in there static wise. Although they say that some people have done that with these and made them operating. So I guess you could do it if you're really meticulous. My hands aren't going to be steady enough to make it work. Would work very good. I'll be lucky to get it in there in a static configuration.
So, but, Steve, do you have something to say?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Oh, we moved on past that.
I don't know. I saw Sparky said that you should raise your hand when you want to talk.
Oh, we were talking about paper mills and what they ferment the wood pulp. That's where you get that really nasty smell, and it's bad because we used to have a plant in Pittsburgh that we used to switch, and it also makes the tracks really, really slick. And one of the places that we spotted was downhill, and I slid 3 cars over a bumper there because it's like greased rails. It's like snot. You set the brakes, but paper mills are nasty. So that's all I have to say about that.
They smell awful.
I'll take your word for it.
John says I should use my school bus driver voice. Yeah, that would work.
How's that voice work?
Sit your ass down.
Is it like louder and deeper, or?
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to get that voice. Or the PA. That works good.
Oh, here you go.
Sugar plant.
Anderson's got your problem solved right here, Steve. Need flashing lights like on the bus when you want to ask a question.
I can do that. Oh, I've got a bell. I can ring my bell.
Oh,
That's funny.
all righty. What else are we talking about? Paper mills and other bad smells?
Bad smells. I've never smelled it.
You're breaking up, Steve.
Yeah, he always breaks up though. What's going on over there, Bill?
What do you got anything new going on besides the smoke? Show us the smoke, Bill.
I'll show you. Yeah, I've got a few things. Oh, let me grab. So you were speaking of trees. So I'm trying to do a variation. I'm trying to make a southern pine. So I'm just playing with using the core, like what I've been doing. A little bit of florist wire, and I'm going to use furnace filters to try to make a decent southern pine tree that are very common around here. So this has been something I've been starting to play with this week. And then let's see, I've got all of my engines back in operation that cacked out on me at the train show, and then I've bought more. So all of these are operating engines at this point in time. I fixed my 10-wheeler. I got a new C&W Weaver. Well, it's an old stock that I bought off eBay. My Pensie's got a new motor in it, so it's working again. This is a Weaver, bought off eBay. It runs. That's the one I had at the show. I had to do a little fix on it. That's another Atlas F unit that I bought off eBay. I think I talked about that a while ago. Got couplers on it, so it's ready to run. And then my 080, I changed out that real small little motor they had into it for a beefier motor, and that's up and running. So I've got all of my motive power plus additional now. So anytime I go to a show, I don't think I have to worry about it being a problem.
Do you have any plans of painting all your units the same road name?
No. Since this one is really a show type layout, running different roads isn't going to be a problem. It could be, you could imagine it's west, it could be east. So I will weather everything. But the only thing that I'll do for consistency is up on here, because I bought the equipment that's the Greenbrier and Big Run equipment. And over here, I'm still playing with buildings, adding some different things that I've been making for kits, just to kind of get a layout of how I want things to be. I've still got to scratch build the loading dock that's going to go over there. Still have to build up that square water tank. But, making progress. And over here, so even though this one's not working right now because I overfilled it with oil, that's a burn barrel. And if it didn't have too much oil in it, it would have a nice plume of smoke coming out of it. But I screwed myself by dumping too much in. But I'll show you the one that's on the other side that I just put in, and that one should work as well here.
Are your locomotives going to smoke?
No, I'm not going to worry about smoke on the locomotives. At least at this point in time. Maybe in the future I might put some in.
Yeah.
But right now, no. Let's see here. We'll give it a second. It takes just a little bit for the oil and the element to heat up. And watch it make a liar out of me here. But
so you have these things on switches?
Yeah, I've got toggles that I can turn on and off so that they don't have to be on all the time.
Gotcha.
And it takes usually a minute or two for it to heat up. Even though you can't see it on camera, I can see just a little bit of smoke as the unit's kicking in. We'll give it a minute and I'll come back over to it as soon as it does start.
What about a little smoke on the water?
Oh,
that would be kind of funny.
Now you're giving up our ages, Steve.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Now that one's not wanting to smoke. Maybe I killed my power pack. I don't know. Hang on. Let me try something. So I put the the power pack for this one. It's underneath the layout. And let me just throttle up the heat a little bit. Give me a little bit more juice.
Dennis wants to know how long I smoke for.
So far, it doesn't seem like it smokes very long. I can put in a couple of drops and I get maybe 4 or 5 minutes out of them. Okay, the other side is smoking. I can see the puffs coming up. I'll go back over there. So that's why I put in toggle switches down here so that if I'm showing it, I got lots of little kids around. I can go and I can flip a switch and then I can have some smoke coming out for a little bit. Right. And if I'm not showing it, I can just turn it off and not worry about it.
Yeah.
You're watching all this, right, Dennis?
He's got his eyes closed.
If he wasn't sick, he will be.
So I seen a big puff of smoke on the other side when it's coming up, but now, of course, it's not smoking.
That's
it's the first time I've run with both of them on at the same time, and maybe they're pulling enough power. Let me just kill this one and see if I can. Or maybe the oil is already out over there because I had it going pretty good just before the show. Hopefully Dennis isn't throwing up all over the place. Well, it's going to make a liar out of me. It's not going to do anything. We'll give it a second and see here. But anyhow, that's kind of what I've been doing. If it starts smoking, I'll grab the camera and head over. But it's going to make a liar out of me right now.
Got to be fast, though.
Steve Anderson says
there's the smoke. There's the oil for them. This is just a real small tube that I got with the HO scale engine. Not a whole lot there, but it does pretty good.
Yeah. Let's see how much time we got. We got about 12 minutes left.
Where'd he comment? Where's his comment? He said I don't know. Steve Anderson said that he gets his stuff to smoke just as long as it takes to get a fire extinguisher.
Okay, so this one was out of smoke or smoke oil.
Oh wow!
Oh, there you go.
So it's kind of intense, and you can throttle it slightly off the power pack to get it a little bit less. It doesn't look like a real fire, but
yeah,
it can go pretty good. So the other barrel, once the oil burns down, it will do the same, but it adds a kind of cool effect as it's going through the trees.
Yeah, sure. That's cool.
So anyway, at least it works.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, Bill, are you pretty much done, like building?
With this one, I've still got scenery and some other things to do. I'm already starting to think about what I'm going to do next.
What do you mean next? Like build the layout or something?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm never going to stop building layouts. I have too much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And I've got.
But you're going to run out of room,
I've got totes of stuff up there for like HO scale. And when I was doing this one, the HO scale, my original thought was, I did the first 4x8, then I did the next, and it was like, okay, hey, I can switch them around, I can do different things. But I had thought of doing a third 4x8 to add into this so that I could run, again, 2 pieces at any given time and then have a third to switch out. So I'm really starting to contemplate figuring out how I can raise a section up to the roof give me some space so that I can build the third piece that I wanted to for this. I don't know if I'm going to do that or if I'm going to do something else, but I like building layouts. I'm not going to stop. And honestly, I don't want to get rid of any of what I got. I want to just kind of figure out ways that I can keep it and still do other stuff.
You need a bigger space, man.
I need a much bigger space, but that's not going to happen. So I'll figure out how to optimize what I've got until the wife puts me in a nut farm for just being too crazy.
Maybe you need to start a club, like get a building somewhere and start your own club.
There's clubs around Richmond. I just haven't really gotten into anything yet that's too close. But now this is my stuff. This is my space, my play area. It'll stay out in the garage.
Yeah.
But I'll figure out something. I don't really want to get rid of the N scale. I like the N scale, but if I have to, I have to. But going up, at least for storage, is the idea. And looking at this stuff, I built these again to be portable. These I could take to shows as well. And I was thinking about how I would do, a storage area that could go into a truck and take these and sort of slide them in and suspend them to take them to shows, because the legs all fold up underneath into a thing I can put under my arm and carry. So the more I've been thinking about it the past few weeks, the more likely I am that, the next thing I build is going to be another 4x8.
Yeah, he built something really easy. So I had a
question for you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. He wants to know, do you change your techniques for making the N-scale trees or the HO size trees?
Not really. The only thing that I'll do, and I've got a couple of, I got about 4 or 5 scratch builds over here on the HO scale, is I just will not make the trunks quite as high. And maybe I'll only use 2 instead of 3 to build up the trunk. Again, you put the glue on and you roll it, you still get a beefy looking trunk, but the rest of it is the same construction. If I do them in N scale, I'll still use I'll use like a single strand of the grapevine wire. I can still use the furnace filter material for the bigger N scale trees, but again, then, big N scale trees is, 5-6 inches. And, you can scale it for what you want, but the techniques all work.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see where, having done the 2 different sizes I've got here, it's just a matter of how long it is. And then, of course, you build everything else in proportion to the length of the trunk. So you can do it either way.
Yeah. Dennis says he considers the same thing in my shop, an elevating N-scale layout. You going to do an N-scale layout above here? Oh.
Yeah, so CDB Chuck said small wenches like they use. You can get, like, a friend of mine got one of them Harbor Freight wenches, and he had a kayak on a trailer, and he rigged it up, and he used to put the kayak above his car with the trailer and all.
I did one for my daughter and her husband for a 2-man bass boat.
Yeah.
And I used it I made a rack for all the airplane wings.
Right.
So I can put all the airplane wings, of course, they all detach from your airplane. So you put all the wings on there, and I can crank them up to the ceiling out of the way and walk underneath. And I use it for a lumber rack now, but I still have it. I didn't take it down when I got rid of all my airplanes because it was too handy.
Yeah.
It's a nice use of storage above your head. And those cranks are just a trailer crank, and they're inexpensive and use a little aircraft wire. Well, they usually come with an aircraft cable on them, and then all you gotta do is rig up your attachments to them and some pulleys, and you can pull them right on up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, because you can get the ones that are like key fob controlled, so you can do remote on the winches, because I don't have, you see my garage, I got shelves, I've got storage all the way around. I don't have a good anchor point, but up above I've got a big I-beam joist that goes across that's beefy that I could put the supports on. It's just a matter of figuring out how I would do the cabling to come down to have a cross piece that goes under the layout as temporary, only when I'm doing support, anchoring it and then bringing it up. It's something that I've been toying with. I'll probably end up doing that. Just next probably 6 months, because I've still got
Yeah.
months worth of work on the O scale, and I've still got stuff I want to do on the HO and on the N scale yet that I haven't finished everything off. So I got plenty of things to keep me out of mischief, but that'll give me some time to plan for the next one.
Yeah.
The next one. Wonder what that is.
Well, my next step, like I say, is going to be probably this last mine up there with the trams and stuff, and getting some trees put in that mining district, and then I'll be going around and start planning the town that's going to go above the yard on my layout. So that I'm hoping to build 90% of it down in the shop instead of having to get up on the topside creeper, even though I've got that now. When you're using it on my layout, I didn't really plan to have that in the first place. So my aisles aren't wide enough really to have that in there full time because you can't get around it. But for working on the layout, it's great for that. But if you're, in the picture they show you in the magazine of the guy using the topside creeper, he's in, nothing behind him. So he's got lots of room to move it in and out and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you've got layout on both sides of you and a 3-foot aisle or less, you can get it in there, but it's, it's dicey, and then you can't get around the thing. So it's got its ups and downs, but it definitely came in handy on doing the mine district, because getting back in that corner to paint those hills and stuff, it came in very handy. And it's going to work when I'm doing this tram buckets, because that's at the very top of the mountain, and then coming down, and of course I had to get up there to cut out. I took the vacuum cleaner and the Dremel and got up there and cut plaster out so I could sink that building into the mountain itself. And I couldn't have done that without that topside creeper. There's no way I could have got up there and be able to lean out over the top. If you get a ladder, yeah, you can get up high, but you can't lean out over. Yeah. Because it'll want to tip on you. So that topside creeper really comes in handy for that. But if you think you're going to build a layout like that, make sure you got plenty of room underneath, because it does get crowded with that. Oh, any other questions, Steve?
No, I think we got it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was going to take you up and show you mine, but you can go look at my channel and see the update and see everything. And now, if you have any questions, you can ask me next week, or ask me in the comments on this video, and it'll get you entered in the contest, so the giveaway. So
yeah,
and hi, simple answer. Hi, no, nothing's new on my layout. Same old.
No, he's still derailing.
Mm-hmm. I could just rip it out and start all over again.
Yeah, you could. It's not so big that you couldn't do that.
No. Maybe so.
Okay. Bernard's got one. Anyone have tricks for removing rust from 3-rail? Just got 3 Army footlockers full of 3-foot straights of 3-rail, like Lionel.
Yeah, I think it's Lionel.
Bernard, look on YouTube and do some searches. I've seen some guys that have posted using sort of like a vinegar bath that you can put them in, and it takes a lot of the rust off. So there's videos out there that show how to do it.
Yeah, I can see it's going to take some scrubbing too by hand with a toothbrush or whatever after you soak it, something like that. But then the trick is going to be getting it rinsed off good and keeping it from rusting again. It's a bad thing about that steel rail like that. Dennis found one. He's just waiting to pull the trigger on it. I'm not sure I want to know what he's talking about.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's talking about a topside creeper. Well, see, Dennis would have room in his area. Yeah. He's got a big enough spot and enough clearance around everything. It wouldn't be as problematic for him. I know Mark Pruitt has one, and he's got a big basement. If you've seen his channel, he's got a big basement, and he's just got it pushed over to the side. Well, I can't do that. I had to get the one that folds up, the smallest. So I got a particular model of it, because they make 2 or 3 different models of the thing. and I got the one that folded up the smallest, and it's upstairs, and it's just folded up against the storage shelving that we have up there right now. When I get done with the layout, pretty much done with the layout, take it downstairs and put it in the garage. Right. And only have to bring it up if I need to use it. But it folds up fairly flat. Oh, maybe this wide. So it's not too bad. About 4 foot tall, and then yay wide, this thick, and then as wide as the creeper is. So it folds up fairly well. So what do we got? Oh, well, that's the end of our time.
Yeah, we're over.
Yeah, you thought we had a good subject. It always goes fast.
Well, yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for being here again. Maybe Dennis will be with us next week. If Gail quit kissing on you, Dennis, you won't get so sick.
Hope you feel better, buddy.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, I get the feeling better. Yeah. And thanks everybody in chat. And we will see you next week.
Yep.
Have a good week.
For sure.
Take care all.
Take care.